Hey, what's going on, everyone? So today I'm taking a walk in another Russian forest, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's so peaceful here, check it out. But yeah, you know what I wanted to talk about is, you know, when you look at other cultures, like I remember watching a video of African children, you know, they show those like give African kid like 30 cents a day type of thing. And I remember in the video, some of them, I mean, maybe it wasn't one of those videos, but I remember some video seeing that those kids were smiling and super happy, even though they lived in what could be considered poverty. And that got me thinking. I can tell you one thing. The whole like Western way of life with supposed wealth and these stores is really depressing. It's the reality. It really is depressing. Like people living in a Romanian village are not as depressed as people living in a place like New York or Beverly Hills, especially a place where you're constantly supposed to be jealous of others. I wanted to film for you guys this thing. I don't know if it has a name in English, but this is a famous Russian plant called Krapiva. Now this thing is literally poisonous, not poisonous, but it hurts if you touch it. I'm not even gonna touch it because even if I touched it lightly, it would hurt my finger. I don't know if, I've never seen this in America. See, this is what it looks like, and it has little, like tiny little spikes on the leaves. I think this is the plant. Yeah, it pretty much looks like it. You can tell by the fact that the leaves are like they have this teeth-like structure. So I mean, visually you can usually tell what it looks like. It doesn't. It has a distinctive. But yeah, me and my friend were taking a walk yesterday in Moscow, right? And we walked through this like elite type of a building with shops and everything, and it looked very Western. It looked American. It looked, you know, it reminded me of like California for some reason, and it felt so depressing. You know, it was so sterile. Like there was no people there. You know, everyone who lives there is supposed to be rich and busy. Too busy to take walks or too busy to like, you know, go outside or whatever. And as soon as you got outside of that building, all you saw was shops, because they want you to buy. It wasn't even like food shops. It was like expensive clothing shops. It was jewelry. It was like crap you don't need, you know. I was like, man, you know, all I could feel inside of that development was, well, okay, am I supposed to be jealous of them? And I was a little bit, but it got me depressed. Like I walked through there. There was like a shopping mall there. You know, everything you see in like an expensive neighborhood. You know, like South Coast Plaza type of thing. And I felt happy when we exited that development and got back to like a regular Moscow street. And you know what's interesting, like before I used to look at, like if you look at the way people live in supposedly, you know, like Georgia or somewhere like Romania or something like that, right? Supposedly like poorer countries, right? In like some Romanian village, and you know, you look at that and go, oh God, they're so suffering. Look how their life sucks. It doesn't suck, because I'll tell you one secret. Those people, and including me, it's not that they're poor, it's that they choose to live that way. That's the way they like to live. They're not forced to live that way because they're short on money or resources. It's because they don't like living that certain lifestyle that is like the Western American lifestyle, which is just so depressing, you know. And I'll tell you one thing, like Russia also has a lot of like people who are a little bit hoo-hoo, you know. That was like America has a lot of crazy people, right? Russia also has crazy people. The difference is America's crazy people are way more dangerous. You know, Russia's crazy people might yell at you or something. But here's the thing. A person's psychological state is very fragile. Americans in America in general just completely disregards, on purpose or not, I think some of it is on purpose, the fragile state. They think that Americans are super people who can just go through anything. Well, guess what? If things are a little bit wrong, people will en masse go berserk. And that's what we're seeing. In Russia, it's not as widespread, but I can tell you this. If things were a little bit more depressing, a lot of people in Russia would go crazy. Like, in Russia, there are people who drink, right? And all I can think about when I see people who are drunk is the fact that if it was US, they would be pushed into way worse things. Because they're already, you know, susceptible to, like, they need something. So what happens in America is that people with problems, their problems become way worse. Whereas someone with psychological or an alcohol problem in Russia still might live, like, you know, it's not going to get that much worse. You're still going to live. In America, it will snowball into something bad, you know? Like, drinking will graduate to drugs, drugs will graduate to cocaine, cocaine will graduate into prison. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is that you have to pay attention so that your way of life is not depressing. And the American way of life is, I think, the most depressing in the world. Literally, like, I think that's the highest amount of stress is in America. Like, when I came to Russia, I noticed that the stress level was, like, divided by 10 times less. I even look better. Like, compare the way I look, you know, in California and here. And here I look better because I'm healthier. But yeah, the bottom line is that I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to live in a place where I'm surrounded by shops, where all people value is money, where you have to constantly work, where you live in some sterile neighborhood where you're supposed to sit at home all the time and pretend you're rich and famous and important, too important to live or have fun. I like Russia more. I like when I go outside, I see a bus stop, I see people at the bus stop, I see people going back and forth to stores, you know. I find it way less depressing and more fulfilling, if that explains it. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.